Jolie anticipated the strong pull of the dark side. He prepared himself for it. It was part of the same draw that saw him return again and again to the Ricottan computer, which repeatedly turned him away without answers, that holds his friend in its grip now. He once feared the lure of the dark side, but instead learned to take it as far as a sign of importance rather than prescription. It is just as dangerous to ignore significant secrets as to go in search of them. He turned out to be right. The star map was a critical piece to a larger purpose. Now Jolie has the listing Silent Apocalypse rising into view of his window, and Jolie senses nothing. There is the complete void of life, the vacuum of space. Poor, diluted souls long fled. There is only the faintest spark, mechanical power that survives unspent, that one could only hope would lend the capacity to open doors and facilitate traversing the passageways. Most of all, there is the potential for the ship's logs to be preserved, and therein, Revan's name. Simply put, the Force is not present here. They shall be the ones to deliver it to the apocalypse. To use an old master that comes to Jolie's memory, they shall only have what they take with them. The Ebonhawk scans across the hall with spotlights while flying in low. The wayward particles, knowing they go without the Council's blessing before the asking, light upon an open hangar bay. Subsequently, T3 is dispatched to arrange for an airlock bridge to extend out to them to circumvent the depressurized chamber, which is without power to shield them from space. So, T3, pleased at himself for his talents more than anything else, is there to greet them once the crew arrive on the other side, and cheerfully chirping. Revan pats T3's head in silent confirmation as he is struck dumb in having returned. This was the place he last knew himself, and by all accounts, he didn't do good things. Jolie is struck by the phantoms of life that peel off of Revan. All around him float and mill the star-crossed crew, betrayed by no less than the second most important figure in their lives. He sees their bodies clearly, but constantly he and the others are met with tricks of the periphery. From mundane movement to frantic fleeing for their lives, the crew is restored in vague glimpses that maddeningly do not stand up to scrutiny of trying to look at them directly.
These are the last I saw of each of them.
Bastila takes his hand. You are at the center of these apparitions.
I know. I am beginning to remember.
He relinquishes her hand for another woman, who Revan turns in his own, and is able to look upon her face. Grabbing her close, he begins to weep.
Do you remember her, Bastila?
Remember?
She had to make a choice between one betrayal or another, and she helped you escape with me. In her final moments, I felt her spirit so torn over what I would demand of her, and she could not ask me. She wanted you to save my life.
Then this was the same hangar that we used to escape.
She hated Malik's betrayal. It had little to do with her own life in jeopardy. She loved me. Monster such as I was, how did I inspire such devotion?
Bastila kneels down to him.
Was my indoctrination so complete? Is the lore of the dark side so strong? Or it turns out one of you managed to find the light.
You made the Sith strong in their cause. She believed in you, that you still had a purpose.
And she didn't? Shall I sue to the Force that sacrifices the likes of her? And what of my responsibility to them? I raised an army filled with people like you see all around. The Council is right to be wary of confidence in me. I don't even know.
Yes.
If I loved her, I was angry at her. So very angry. for allowing me to be taken and not fighting. And I think at the last, that's what she felt from me. You were loyal to a fault, my dear Arzilla. You should have saved yourself and never me.
She hesitates at the quote and offers it gently. There is no death.
But what is the Force to me?
He replaces Arzilla and rises with Bastila, holding him steady by the arm. Please be patient. Whatever you might find with the power to trigger old memories, remember, these are shadows of the past. They are not a light to guide your future.
These shadows, unchanged, stand in the way of the light. I must learn of them, but I will try to look on them with peaceful eyes.
He looks upon Arzilla again.
I should not have come back.
Revan's power is drawn out of him, and his cheeks turn black, gasping for air. He falls back, and Jolie stoops down to attempt some healing. Revan pushes him away and calls, gurgled, for Bastila to leave.
You have pointed me to the bridge.
Bastila joins in Revan's dilemma and returns to the healing that first bound her soul to his. She sustains his spirit. As before, where their force bond is forged, it seems all very tenuous. She feels the spark but weakly, and though it is not a tangible flame, Bastila is hesitant to so much as breathe. The change? Her heart is struck with fear in a different way than she had known previously. Kendris, Karth, Jahani, and Jolie help to carry Revan. HK and T3 run and roll ahead to put cutting torches to doors that will not otherwise be removed from their path. Jolie is present to sense it all wash off of them. Swimming against history as it once unfolded, Bastila is not afraid for her life of the ship's imminent destruction, the loss of a key means to challenge Malak. No. Here lies in her arms the possible outcome of a dark peace. To be alone. Sadder still, Jolie is surprised to sense that she would not be altogether alone should the worst come to pass. In turn, Bastila knows she has been discovered, but hasn't the breath to acknowledge it. They start to round a corner with him, and Revan grabs hold of an open doorframe. His strength is surprising, and to Bastila's compounding grief, she fights him, but he will not loose his death grip. Finally, they reverse course in the direction he has set for them. They enter a dark chamber. At the door are prisoners felled by the guards. The power to their cages failed, and the guards in turn died at their posts, containing them. Without strength to spare, Revan weeps for them.
I created such a dark place to lock away all things.
He becomes rigid. Jolie!
He's still breathing.
But you don't know where he is.
No.
Unheard by the others.
Is this wise?
I've had enough of you questioning me. Isn't your jaw proof enough of that?
I only speak the truth to you. The Republic forces bear down on us.
Their numbers are insignificant and distant. Let them engage us. It will not be the surprise they think. I want to know why these men transmitted our coordinates to the Republic. Our enemies should not be here with us.
We often have enemies from within.
Revan waves a hand, and the soldier manning the controls releases an electrical shock.
Could this not come after we defeat the Republic? If you do not lead us, the defense may falter.
Then you should return to the Leviathan.
I request that Arzilla join me there, for safekeeping.
She is safe here.
As you wish, Master.
As Malak leaves, Revan approaches the cages.
Why did you betray me?
We are loyal, Revan.
Let me hit them again, Master. Always a pleasure to deal with traitors. traitors reflect shame upon us. Remember that. Yes, sir. Your actions are plain. Workstations were traced to you. You undermine my efforts. No, sir. We follow orders. Whose orders?
The Apocalypse tremors and the Ebon Hawk crew feels it too. Revan finds a wall call.
What happened?
We just detected a boarding party. They have disabled our weapons. Revan turns to the prisoners. Fools! He flies from the brig and ignites his lightsaber before a window, in time to see Malik's shuttle depart.
You forfeit the care shown in Apprentice.
He fades back to consciousness while still in his mind disengaging his lightsaber and turning for the bridge. The crew resume carrying Revan and soon draw near where the bridge lies, where a dark shadow leaves Revan's body. The cloud lofts ahead of them and holds the door sealed. The droids are disabled by dual electrical charges from it. Canderous tries to blast the door and more energy is ripped from Revan's body with howling pain. Jolie stays Canderous' weapon to be certain, but the Mandalorian is already drawing back in horror. Take him away, go back! In vain, Revan resists Bastila, but only finds himself dragging his heels. He is largely mute, jaw locked, while trying not to cry out as he is pulled away and the dark door draws more of his spirit out of him. To her dismay, Jolie lights upon them both and forces Bastila away. Juhani joins Bastila at her side in the first blink to render comfort, but then Jolie's action has a clear sense to it, and Juhani soon holds Bastila back by both arms. Arm draped across Jolie's back, there isn't an ounce of strength in Revan's body. Carrying his weight upon him, it feels to Jolie as if Revan were already dead. In faith to what he was uncertain, Jolie marches on him. And whereas there was an undeniable draw responsible for draining Revan's being, in carrying him, Jolie encounters great resistance. The invisible force pushed back against them both down, desperate to deny them Revan's salvation that lies just beyond this door. And Canderous joins them, and Karth, and the disjointed HK and T3. Soon Bastila and Juhani as well, all together press forward and fight the whirlwind before them. Revan touches it. All the dark energy flows back into him as water swirling before a torrent. Bastila gasps and collapses. His strength returns only just. He goes to Bastila and finds her heartbroken. The bond is severed. They both rise to their feet, and Revan discovers the lock on the door is loose. The two halves will part without any power between them. However, metal still grinds against metal. They join in pushing one door aside so that there is room enough to pass. The inside of Revan's ear becomes dark with an inexplicable shadow.
Is this wise?
Revan stands in the gap between the doors and rests there.
If we pass beyond this door, we can never go back.
Stay here.
He steps into the darkness of the chamber.
The Order will surely banish us.
Revan disappears from view of the others in the darkness. Shortly, they follow. Revan trips and begins probing the deck on his hands and knees. His fingers glance something in the darkness.
Can its power truly be worth the risk?
Having entered and standing in the dark, the others are bathed in a red glow. Bastila dips her head in sad understanding. She then forces herself to harden her eyes and draws her own saber in turn. You will not win, Revan